guys, Zend here, and welcome back to another standard deck tech. This is a Boros Angels deck that I put together for you guys. Very similar to previous versions of the deck, tweaked a little bit to feature some of the new toys that have come out with War of the Spark. So the deck's been affectionately named Angel Feathers, and that is because of Feather the Redeemed, which is for 3. For a red and 2 white, it's a 3/4 legendary angel with flying, and whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature you control, exile that card instead of putting that card into your graveyard as it resolves. If you do, return it to your hand at the beginning of your next end step. Basically, as long as we're targeting our own stuff, we're going to get the spells back at the end of the turn, as long as they don't get counted, and the build around of the deck is just getting as much value out of that as possible. So because we are building around Feather and her mechanic as much as possible, we want to be running her in a 4 of. We're going for the Angel Tribal theme, so we're running a lot of Angels, and pretty much the rest of the deck is just banking on us having Feather out and being able to essentially combo off with her. So I'll just talk about the main deck here, talk about the sideboard, interactions between, and hopefully you guys enjoy the video. So just a disclaimer, the deck as is untested. I haven't had a chance to play test it, but I've put the deck together and I'm trying to get the deck tech out to you guys. So you guys can do whatever you want with it, tweak it the way you want. Might want to add some removal or change the ratios, add some cards in that I haven't got in here, or take some cards out that you might not like. But let's start off the creatures. So we're running 4 copies of Lyra Dawnbringer, which is for 5, 3 and 2 white. It's a 5/5 legendary creature angel. It's got flying, first strike, and lifelink, and other angels you control get +1/+1 and have lifelink. Aurelia, Exemplar of Justice, which is for 4, 2, a red and a white. It's a 2/5 legendary creature angel with flying and mentor, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, you choose one target creature you control. Until end of turn, that creature gets +2/+0 and gains trample if it's red, and gains vigilance if it's white. So it's buffing any one of our angels, but we can give trample to either Aurelia or Feather. Flying and trample is no joke. Giving it a +2 buff means that we can be swinging in with a 5/5. Because she's white, she'll get vigilance as well. Giving an extra 2 power to something like Lyra Dawnbringer that already has a lot of lifelink, or Resplendent Angel after we buffed her as well. Just getting in for more and more damage. A really good card, and the Mentor ability is really useful as well. So the Mentor is when you attack, you put a +1 counter on target attacking creature with lesser power. So if she's attacking, she's not going to buff any of the other creatures here. So if she's attacking, she's not going to be buffing anybody unless she's giving herself +2, and then she'll be able to put +1 counters on the Resplendent Angel, the Feather the Redeemed, or the Adanto when it's swinging in. So Resplendent is for 3, 1 and 2 white. It's a 3/3 angel with flying, and at the beginning of your end step, if you gained 5 or more life this turn, you create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying and vigilance. This can be a really good token generator in this deck, especially when we have something like Lyra Dawnbringer out, because even on turns where they're attacking in and we're blocking, we can be potentially gaining the 5 life that we need to be generating more angels, which are then getting more buffs and gaining us more life. Can really get out of hand really quickly. Because there are new 2-cost angels, we are running one of the best 2-drops in standard at the moment, and that is Adanto Vanguard, which is for 2, 1 and a white. It's a 1/1 vampire soldier, and as long as it is attacking, it gets +2/+0, and it's also got pay 4 life to gain indestructible until end of turn. So we can give it indestructible at instant speed. Because we have so much gain life in this deck, it's not uncommon for us to be able to keep this alive the entire game, unless they have an exile effect or something similar. But Adanto Vanguard, really good card. Not uncommon for this to be chipping in for quite a bit of damage through the game. Because of the whole Feather synergy, we want to be having stuff that's targeting our creatures to get the recursion out of it. So we have a draw card package in the form of 3 copies of Ryle and 4 copies of Defiant Strike. So Ryle is for 1 red, that's sorcery speed. You deal 1 damage to target creature you control, that creature gains trample until end of turn, and you draw a card. And Defiant Strike is for 1 white at instant speed. Target creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn, and you draw a card. So it allows us we target our creature, so Feather's ability is going to trigger and we're going to get back. It's essentially a Howling Mine trigger. But if we have multiple of these things, we can be drawing 2 or 3 cards in a turn, drowning our opponent in value. Really cool. Reckless Rage, which is for 1 red at instant speed. You deal 4 damage to target creature you don't control, and 2 damage to target creature you do control. If we have stuff like Aurelia out with 5 toughness, or Lyra Dawnbringer out with 5 toughness, we're going to be able to do that twice in a turn, dealing 8 damage to something. So we can definitely drop some of the bigger stuff in the format. Getting this recursive removal through Reckless Rage could just shut our opponent out of the game. 4 copies of Take Heart, which is for 1 white at instant speed. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn, and you gain 1 life for each attacking creature you control. This really comes into its own when a lot of creatures are attacking, obviously, us gaining a lot of life out of it, as well as getting a buff. Really cool. Absolutely love Take Heart in this. And synergizing especially well with the Resplendent Angel. And to finish off the spells, 4 copies of Integrity to Intervention, which is for either 1 hybrid or intervention is for 4. So at instant speed, target creature is +2/+2 until end of turn, or at the 4 cost, at instant speed, you deal 3 damage to any target and you gain 3 life. So because we can target our creature with integrity, getting the buff, it's going to be something that we can recur with the feathers, or if we need it, being able to play intervention, ping something for 3 and us gain some life out of it. Just another really great card for what the deck's trying to do. We are running recursive removal in the form of the Reckless Rage, but a lot of it's banking on whether or not feather is actually on the board. So even without feathers, we're still going to be getting a lot of buffs onto our creatures or drawing a few cards, and we're still going to get damage through with the evasive flying creatures. We're still running a lot of the better creatures in the format, and a lot of the better evasive creatures in the format. Lyra Dawnbringer can absolutely shut down stuff like Burn if they haven't got an answer for it. A lot of these creatures, if they haven't got an answer for them, can just take over the game. So feathers is just adding to the original Boros plan, but because we are running so heavily on the feather redeem plan, we obviously want her in the 4 of, and we want to be running as much of the stuff that we can synergize with as possible. But this is just a mock-up idea for something that I thought might be a good bit of fun. I'm sure there's going to be better, more refined builds pop up in the future, but this was the deck that first come to mind when I saw feathers for the first time. Finish off the deck is the land base, 4 copies of Sacred Foundry, 4 copies of Clifftop Retreat, 7 copies of Mountains, and 7 copies of Plains. Touching on the sideboard here, more synergy and more protection for the control matchups, 3 copies of Sheltering Light, which is for 1 white. It's at instant speed, target creature gains indestructible until end of turn, scry 1. 3 copies of Justicar's Portal, which is for 2, 1 and a white. At instant speed, exile target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. It gains first strike until end of turn. Being able to give one of our creatures first strike at instant speed can be really cool, but this is in there more for the protection side of things, because if this goes into the deck, then we've got something that is going to constantly be able to blink our feathers out. So if they target it with removal, blink it out, and then we're going to get the Justicar's Portal back to our hand at the end step. Which means when they go to do it again, we blink it out, and then we get it back again, and then we blink it out, and then we get it back again, and then we blink it out. Very quickly getting out of hand. It's just synergies like that I thought would be really cool. 3 copies of Shalai, Voice of Plenty. It's a 4-cost angel, 3/4 flying. You, planeswalkers you control, and other creatures you control have hexproof, just giving a blanket protection to our creatures. The bottom ability of pay 6 to put +1 counter on each creature you control isn't relevant because we haven't got green in the deck. 2 copies of Angel of Grace, which is for 5, 3 and 2 white. It's a 5/4 angel with flash and flying, and when it enters the battlefield until end of turn, damage that will reduce your life total to less than 1 is reduced to 1 instead. And it's also got pay 6 to exile Angel of Grace from your graveyard, and your life total becomes 10. I actually had a couple of copies of this in the original version of the deck, but I took it out for the more synergy side of stuff, trying to lower the curve a bit by not having too many of them in there. If we're playing against more aggressive and especially kind of combo-y decks, that's when a card like this would go in. Against control mashups, a couple of copies of Banefire, which is for X and 1 red at sorcery speed. Banefire deals X damage to any target. If X is 5 or more, this spell can't be countered and the damage can't be prevented. And to finish off the sideboard, 2 copies of Rally of Wings, which is for 2, 1 and a white. At instant speed, you untap all creatures you control, and creatures you control with flying get +2/+2 until end of turn. So we're not targeting anything, so we're not going to be able to get it back, but it is a blanket effect that's going to give all of our flying creatures +2/+2. I just felt like it might be something that could be worth running in the deck. But that is the sideboard, that is the main board, and that is Angel Feathers in Standard.
Thanks for watching, guys. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to see new videos as they were released. If you like what I do and you want to support the channel, you can throw me $1 on my Patreon at patreon.com/ZandersQuest. And I will see you guys in the next video. Keep questing, guys.